Welcome to the Spurs News Podcast, your home for all things Tottenham Hotspur. Now, here are your hosts.
Hello everybody and welcome to a new episode of the Spurs News Podcast. Despite the result, we're still here. I am Sam. Joining me to discuss all things Tottenham Hotspur, it's Matt.
Hey mate, how you getting on?
Terrible. I'm in a right grump. Yeah, no, recording this on a Thursday. See, when we started this, we were a Champions League team, and so we recorded this on a Thursday. Typically, we'd have had a European night to discuss and all sorts of fun and frolics, and as time went on, the Thursday became a kind of, pre-game as we were in the Europa League or whatever, and now it's the day after a Southampton game at home, which we've lost, and I'm feeling that little bit kind of like angsty, I think is the right word.
Yeah, it's so disappointing. I don't know about you, but I guess a lot of fans are looking at the games in hand and they're thinking, well, we'll get 3 points the Southampton game, we'll get 3 points. You know, it's almost like I thought it was a prerequisite that we're going to get the 3 points.
I got a horrible feeling our team did as well, the way they played last night. But we do have a few things to sort of run through, so before I go into the Southampton game in more detail, let's talk about something a little bit more positive. Since the last time me and you spoke, we did have a win in the FA Cup, no less, which always means a lot to me. We beat Brighton, and you know Brighton aren't a bad side, so I was pleased with that win. And I think we played pretty well. I think we had like a weird kind of 10-20 minutes in the second half where we didn't play as well as we had been, if that makes sense. But you know, you got to give credit to the opposition that they did well. But I was delighted after they scored, we went and grabbed another, sort of like went up the gears. But overall, I was quite pleased with the Brighton game. What about yourself?
Yeah, I mean, they're a Premier League opposition, aren't they? So
exactly, yeah, and they're full strength.
Yeah, they were full strength, exactly, yeah. It was a good game. I was in the I was there with Seb and my dad for that game, and we was in the south as usual in the corner, about 40 rows back, and it's a really good view from there. But it was a great atmosphere, really good atmosphere. But you kind of, I don't know, and obviously we're going to be talking about the Southampton game as well, but it just seems that kind of, what's the word I'm looking for? You know, so even when we're winning, and I know it's always the case with Spurs, and I mean, I always joke about even when we was 5-2 up against Southampton, this is during Pochettino's reign, and we was, you know, you still think, oh my God, please. Yeah. But we just seem like we're having these, and I know we're going to be talking about the Southampton game, but it's the moments of lapse of concentration and the kind of, you never quite feel like, even at 2-0, it's like I've got a feeling they might come back into it. And when they did, and like you said, we stepped up a gear and got the third and put the game to bed. But it's that kind of, oh, here we go. You know, what you never kind of feel like it's 2-0's enough at the moment.
Yeah.
And it's almost like I feel like a hangover from the Mourinho days. And don't get me wrong, I know we're the mentality's improving, but I don't think we're quite there where Conte wants us, and we've still got that.
I think last night proved that, really. I think if we had a suspicion of it from the Brighton game, I think last night proved it beyond all doubt. But just to finish up the FA Cup, so yeah, it was a good win over Brighton. We've drawn Middlesbrough in the 5th round. We're going to Middlesbrough in this game. They conquered Manchester United, of course, in the 4th round, so they're going to be very confident. That actually suits me a little bit. You know, it's kind of like the narrative's already there of like another giant killing, and therefore there's a little bit of pressure on them rather than them just coming at us all guns blazing. They are actually going to feel it a little bit, but. You know, again, on paper, I know football's played on grass, but on paper it's a very winnable tie for us, which would take us into the quarterfinals. So, you know, it's a great opportunity to advance in that competition.
It's also a marker for us because obviously we played them. I think it was in the 3rd round last time? It was the beginning of January.
It was the 3rd or 4th, definitely. Yeah, I was thinking that myself.
I think it was the 3rd because obviously I went with Dan, didn't I? And I can remember it being right at the beginning of January.
It went to a replay, didn't it?
Yeah, it did. Yeah, it was 1-0. But that's where I think we can kind of work or see. I mean, I know every game's different, and you know, like you could be playing really well and have a freak result, but I feel like this game will tell us how far we've come since then.
Yeah.
if you know what I mean.
Yeah, no, there's definitely. So we are going to dive into the Southampton game now. So we're going to dive into it in a sort of a bit more detail, and not in a kind of depressing way, because I know everyone's kind of like, oh, really? Talk about something else. But just like, I think there's a few things that sort of need to get aired, and one of them is every team, no matter which team it is, Man City, Chelsea, Liverpool included, can have bad days. And what I mean by that is sometimes you just like a game, they just don't show up, just can't get into the game or whatever. And I've seen it happen to the absolute best teams in the world, and it's like you almost got to write it off. You just got to finish the game and just go, whew, wow, not our day, bad night. Just get rid of it. With Tottenham, when we were doing very well under Pochettino, and when we started quite well with Mourinho as well, it was kind of quite easy to do that in a certain respect. To kind of look at these results, to look at the performance and go, we don't play like that. We're better than that. So, bad day at the office, throw it away. What concerned me a little bit about last night is just, I didn't feel that way. I kind of felt like this is kind of where we're at, and Southampton just absolutely went at us from minute one and kind of showed every other team in the league, or every other team across the world really, that if you get in our faces, we struggle with that. Because Brighton kind of gave us space in the first half especially, and when they upped their pressing is when they dominated the game in the FA Cup, is how I felt anyway. And Southampton just did it from minute 1 to minute 96, and we did create some great chances, that being said. But at the same time, I think they had 23, 24 shots on goal to our 8 last night.
Wow.
I mean, that's bad. At home, we were at home. You would not have put us as the home team, just based on that performance. The stadium gave it away, obviously. But if you were just looking at the football, you wouldn't have thought we were the home team in that game. Do you know what I mean by that?
Yeah, no, that's what I said. I said that at the game. I said to the guy next to me, I'm like, I feel like they're the home team. Yeah. And it's almost like you don't want to say it too loud, because obviously you don't want the other managers to hear it. But that's how you play us, because you've got. It's funny because you mentioned, I think it was yesterday morning, or maybe the day before, to Dan about, or he mentioned it about Sanchez having that concentration lapse issue, and I think you said, didn't you, that Mourinho was quite saying the same, Nuno was quite saying the same. There is a fantastic player there with a fantastic ability, but he has so many concentration lapses, and it wasn't just him yesterday.
No,
I felt, look, there are some positives I want to talk from. I know we lost, right? So it's one of those games where unfortunately the negatives are going to outweigh the positives, and there are some positives I do want to talk about. But I guess let's get the negatives out of the way first.
Yeah.
I really wasn't impressed with Royale, and I haven't been impressed.
Oh mate, no, I same as you. I cannot there are certain aspects of his game you can see are there, and with coaching and the adaptation of moving to the new country, a new role, a new position. He's been a fullback all his life, an attack-minded fullback, but a wing-back is different. I was talking to someone last night about it, and I was saying, Conte's come in with his system, his blueprint, and is fitting the players that were signed for Jose or Nuno into his blueprint, and some are thriving. You can see some are really enjoying it. Eric Dyer, I think, is thriving in a back three, but you can see the fullbacks especially are really struggling with it. But like you said then about Sanchez and concentration, I feel like that is a mentality issue that is in our squad for a number of players. Like Sanchez gets singled out for it, and possibly rightly, but Ben Davies last night, their first goal,
he slipped on his arse, didn't he? I think
that's like air kicking. I mean, I'm watching that and I'm like, I know it can happen to anyone. I know it can, but it happens a lot with us. It happens, like, the ball shouldn't have got to that position anyway, and that was very much Emerson Royale. That shouldn't have got to that position. But when you've got the chance to clear it like that, the top defenders at good teams, the ball's gone. Do you see what I mean? You don't, if you saw Van Dijk do that, you would be in shock. It'd be like, what? How did that happen? You see Ben Davies doing, you go, oh, for fuck, because we've all seen it before, and it's like this sort of not fully focused in the moments. And Ben tried to recover in the rest of the game, and he almost tried to overcompensate at times, and ended up getting caught out a lot. But that kind of really summed up our defending for me. I mean, Hugo Lloris made about 3, maybe 4 saves that, to be honest with you, he had no right making.
Well, just before the first,
could have been worse.
Just before the end of the first half, it was like, oh my God, how is this ball not going in the back of the net?
I know. And I watched him, and I kept thinking to myself, stupidly, we're getting away with this here, because Lloris has made some saves. He's got no rights making. Like, we're still in. I think it was half time. It was like, what? And I was like, Conte's going to sort this out. And I was like, there's no way we can be as bad in the second half. And Lloris has really saved us, because we could have easily gone in at half time like 2-3-0 down. Easily. And I just kept looking at it. And one of the things I think they identified in half time was that we were not dealing with crosses well.
No.
And like, because our wing backs were trying to press forward and our central defenders were getting spaced, they were literally going into defence. So our wing backs were constantly getting caught out of position, and I think that's something that needs to be addressed, because again, like I said, we're playing fullbacks as wing backs. These guys are still learning this, and of course they were our offensive out. I mean, that chance that Reguilon had, 9 times out of 10, that kid scores that, or anyone scores that. It just, somehow he's managed to hit it straight at Foster.
Oh God, yeah.
But that chance there epitomised for me the system that Conte likes to play. Think about Victor Moses at Chelsea. That guy used to score goals like that all the time in that system, because he'd come out to in, the sort of what they call underlap run, the ball would get pinged and no one would pick him up. And you can see both Royale, with his aerial presence, they're trying to loop the ball up to him, and then Reguilon with his pace, they're doing that. So you can see offensively, these guys are getting it. You can see that offensively the patterns are there, and we are creating problems with that. Defensively, they're all over the place. And because they're all over the place, if you've got a back three with Romero sat in the middle, Sanchez on the right and Davis on the left, think how many times last night you saw Davis or Sanchez at fullback.
Yeah.
And therefore they had 2 strikers with Romero trying to pick one. Yeah. So when they worked that out at half time, in the second half, they just pinged it into our box. And I've got to say that, and I know this is a hill I'm dying on, Ward-Prowse, someone should just say how much and pay it.
I know, I said that as well last night.
Yeah. The guy's delivery from set pieces, corner free kicks, and then his delivery in open play into the box, Harry Kane would score 40 to 50 goals a season with him in the team. Yeah. Could you just imagine? Because you must, like, if you're a Kane, you look at the delivery you put in the box, and then you look at what, with the greatest respect to him, Reguilon and Royale and everyone else in that team is delivering to Kane and Sonny. You must, what? I could go to Southampton and score more goals. Yeah. This is ridiculous. Yeah. And it's Southampton are a decent striker away from being the top 4 contender the way they played last night.
Oh, completely, yeah. I think
it's nuts.
Cole Walker-Peters had a good game, didn't he? I think they
he did, yeah.
The last 2 players I want to say again, and it's just, a disappointing night I think they had, really disappointed me anyway, was Højbjerg and Winks. I don't think those 2 played particularly well. A lot of misplaced passes, and I know maybe with Højbjerg it's a case of he's played just too many games. We play him every game. But then what I will say, a big positive for me, and I don't know if this is something that you thought as well, and I'll call him Benny because I think that's
Bentancur.
He came on. Wow!
What an impact!
What a player! What a player! Not only. You see those YouTube show reels.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
He came on and did that in the opening 2 minutes of being on the pitch, didn't he?
Well, no. When you see the show reels, a lot of them is his defensive work, which I was quite impressed with. But his offensive work was, like you say, the way he was pinging it around, and he's one of those players. It seems, and I know it's very, very early days, so I don't want to get ahead of myself. No. But there are some players that come into the Premier League, I know we've talked about this before, and they just feel like they've been there for their whole career. And he, for me, was one of those players.
Yeah. Well, I think you're seeing almost the two examples, Bentancur and his former Juventus teammate who have joined us. You're seeing Bentancur literally walk onto the pitch like he's been there his entire life.
Yeah.
Whereas the other lad, Kulusevski's looking like, I'm not sure what I'm doing.
Yeah, I don't, when he came on, because I was trying to, when I got home, I was thinking, did he even come on? And I'm like, he must have done, because I remember the stadium announcer announcing both the players. I'm like, I don't remember seeing him.
He came on, and he looks a little to me like rabbit in the headlights. He looks like he came on against Brighton, he came on against Southampton, and both times he's just looked like nervous.
Yeah.
Like, I want to take the safe pass. I don't want to try and take someone on. And that's fine. This isn't me digging him out for that. This is just he's literally just arrived. He's like got off the plane and we've gone, quick, go win us a game.
Yeah.
It's oh my god. So that's fine. That's fine. But when you do see that comparison with the Bentancur who came on and with his first touch he controlled it, turned and played the ball forward. Now, that is what Winks had been trying to do all game and had lost the ball 4 or 5 times trying to do it.
Yeah.
And that is possibly a confidence thing between the two of them. Possibly an ability thing, just the fact that he is that little bit better. But Winks, like you were talking about disappointment and positives, Bentancur was definitely a positive. Winks, for me, last night was a massive negative, and it hurts me.
Yeah, I know how much you like him, and how much you rate him as well, Sam.
It just hurts me when I see a display like that, because it's very difficult when you sort of follow a player come through and you see all the ability they got, and then you see them really realising that ability at first team level. I mean, at Champions League level, etc. And I sort of watch, and the decline in his level, I've put solely on the inability to find a settled system for him to play his best football, and his confidence is gone. And then under Conte, we've seen him a few times, his work ethic and his ability on the ball is showing again. That ability there is showing. But in a pair with Højbjerg, it was dreadful.
Yeah, it was awful.
It just didn't work. You need an Oliver Skip. You need a player in there who's going to happily kick the crap out of people for 90 minutes, not care about getting forward, because that's his game. His game is literally break up play, and if you don't have that, you're stuck with two players who I kind of feel are like a jack of trades and a master of none.
Yeah.
Højbjerg is not a defensive midfielder. Well, when we signed him, I genuinely looked at the stats of what he did at Southampton. He was the best. Behind Kante, of course, who's like on a world of his own. He was the best defensive midfielder in the league. And I'm like, interceptions, tackles, I'm like, wow, we've signed a great player for us in that role. But it's not him. He's not that. And I remember Southampton fans saying it at the times, like, the stats are a little bit misleading on this. He's only good in that role alongside someone else who's doing it. He's kind of picking up the interceptions. And he does intercept the ball a lot. His positional sense is quite good, but I do feel Højbjerg is better pushing forward, like pressing high. Like, he can press from the front and really get at people. And the issue is, right now, he looks a yard off for me. And I think it's got to be the amount of games he's played for us. Because people are running off. And I said this before, and a few people messaged me after I said it and went, I'd never noticed, but you're right. I've seen it now. People do just run off him. Which for a defensive midfielder is like the cardinal sin. Skippy, people don't run off him. Skippy gets booked before he lets people run off him.
Yeah, sure.
So it's not his game. So it's like, well, where is it then? And I do think to myself that perhaps at the moment, the players in the system, sometimes it seems to click really well, and other times it's just not. And Højbjerg and Winks doesn't work for me. Like similar, I remember Winks and Sissoko. If I saw that on the team sheet, I'd think we're in for it.
We're going to struggle, yeah.
Yeah, we're going to struggle. And I know that's so pessimistic to say stuff like that, but you when you watch it enough times, you realise that they don't complement each other. So, and I know it's kind of like a selection headache of, well, what do you do? And Bentancur has come in 2 very impressive cameos if he starts the next game, is he going to be as impressive? None of us know that yet, and probably the manager's thinking, I don't want to throw him in from the start yet because the fans are a bit, angsty.
Yeah, sure.
a bit ready to lynch. So what do we do? I wouldn't, if he's fit enough, I'd like to see him start.
Me too.
Against Wolves.
Me too.
It'd be very good to see him against fully fit, non-fatigued opposition if he can do the same stuff. Because he gave us control.
Yeah.
For about 10-15 minutes he came on. Or 10 minutes, we had control of the game. And that was largely due to his presence. But, Harry Kane, I think, did okay without... he missed that chance where he headed it into the ground. He did everything right there.
Yeah.
But I tell you what, we were digging out Emerson Royale a little bit. If I was Kane, I'd have throttled him. Because Kane is lining up that header and Emerson Royale goes like a freaking karate kid, flying through the air with his boot. If Kane had proper put his head through that, he'd have got knocked out on Emerson Royale's boot. I mean, you see it on the replay. Kane clearly shouts. It's not like a case of Royale didn't know he was there. And he's gone to head it. And because of this, well, as I said, karate kid coming across him, he's headed it down, which is all he could do. And the ball's bloody... I mean, I couldn't believe it. I just couldn't believe that bounce. But, you look at that, you look at the Reguilon chance and everything, but like I said, we had 23, 24 shots. It's just... we were battered, and there's there are a little positive. I think Sonny's goal, I was so over the moon, because I'm like, Sonny at the moment's out of form, and I think everyone can see that, can't they? I mean, he's just not his usual self. Like, the ball's getting stuck under his feet a little bit. You see his normal self in bursts. Against Brighton, for example, he made that brilliant run which led to the goal, and you're like, that's Sonny.
Yes.
That's our kid.
Yes.
That's him.
Yes.
And then there's times like last night he'd turn and trip, and it's like, what? Or his first touch would get away from him. There was a chance where it came to him, we pressed high, we won the ball back, and he's in the box. Sonny scores from that. Sonny on fire, doesn't look for Kane, doesn't look for anyone else. He curls that into the bottom corner. Do you know what I mean? It's just done.
Yep.
And yet he hit it, and the ball rolled away from his foot. And
That's right. Yeah,
what?
I remember that.
And then so it was neither a pass, not a shot, nothing. He just lost the ball.
Yeah.
And so when he scored, I was over the moon. I was like, yes, because confidence. You just know, this is big. This is going to really help. Of course, I think it went as an own goal. I can't remember. No, the first one was an own goal, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I was like, this is going to be big for him. And again, his touch afterwards still, couldn't control the ball. It's like the whole, there's a few of them at the moment just struggling to... I mean, he's had that injury, so maybe he's kind of just struggling to get his confidence back after the injury. But you can just see it, if they were, Kane and Sonny were really clicking last night, I think we would have created more, if that makes sense.
Well, funny enough, you remember that game against Southampton, I think, at their ground. Do you remember when...
4 goals.
They were just making it look like it was for fun, weren't they?
Yeah,
that was peak. That was peak Kane and Son clicking, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm.
And it's possible because we've seen it. But you're right. There was so many poor touches. I mean, I don't want to. I know I feel bad picking on particular players, and I know we're sort of individually picking players out. But Royale, for example, some of his touch was so heavy, and
it was awful.
It was just and the first goal. You talk about Ben Davies slipping on his arse. The guy next to me just started singing the Benny Hill theme tune, and that's how it felt. Yeah. It felt like that. It was just like watching Benny Hill.
Not wrong at all. And the defending in general. You could literally put a montage of it to the Benny Hill theme, and it looked like a comedy sketch. It was bad. Yeah. It was really bad, and so bad. Romero had I thought a fantastic game.
Me too.
Brighton.
Yeah,
he was immense. And last night he was doing all the same stuff, but the big difference is Southampton watched that Brighton game, so they knew that Romero comes to challenge, everything like that. You watched, now with it in your head and you think back, you'll probably see it. Any time the ball was played to someone that QT was marking, the ball went quick. Right. They didn't try and control it, they didn't try and turn, the ball just pinged away. So by doing that, they took Romero out of the game.
Took him out, yeah.
Because they knew. You watch how he plays. He's fast. He's aggressive. A couple of times he did take the ball. He was so good. He timed it so well. But other than that, the vast majority of the time it was bang straight away. And by doing that, he was up the pitch. And probably our best defensive header of the ball, because Sanchez always just seems to loop it in the air. I don't know how he does it, but he does. Ben Davis was just getting climbed on. He was out of the box because he was trying to intercept the pass, and it, like I said, it was literally they watched the Brighton footage and beat us. And in the second half, they were trying to get the ball in, and for a good amount of time, they weren't able to do it. But I felt, and I don't know how you felt being there, we went 2-1 up and shut off. Like we had fought to get back in the game, and then just stopped.
We did it with both goals, Sam. When we scored the first goal, we did it. It's bizarre. It's almost like we just went down too many gears.
Yeah, it was just weird. I'm like, you worked that hard and you played that well to then dominate the game. You don't stop. I mean, that's bonkers. I mean, it's like, and Southampton then had space. And Ward-Prowse, you give him space to put the ball in the box, that guy's going to find a player.
Do you know what? Funny enough, you're talking about
Ward. 2 goals in 2 minutes.
Yeah, that's right. You talk about Ward-Prowse. There was a moment, I don't know if you remember it, where in the second half where they're attacking and we commit a foul just outside the box, and the referee's like, play advantage, and I'm thinking, you're not giving them advantage when when they've got Ward-Prowse at the pitch, right?
That's basically a penalty.
Basically.
Like, guys are phenomenal.
Yeah, and every time, because they got quite a number of corners in the game, and every time they got corners, Seb would zip up his jacket. He's like, "Dad, I can't watch." And he's one of those players, like you said, who's just I think he's almost unmatched when it comes to set piece ability in the Premier League.
In the Premier League now, definitely.
How old is he? How old is Ward-Prowse?
26.
Why is he not? Like,
I'm honestly don't. I mean, he signed a new contract with Southampton in the summer. He's the captain there. I think he likes being there. And there's always an element, I think, with players like that of they look great in that setting. How would they do elsewhere?
I guess Letitia is another good example for Southampton, isn't he? For anyone old enough to remember.
Yeah, I mean, I liked him as a footballer. As a bloke, he's a numpty. Oh, he's 27. There you go.
Oh, right, okay.
Yeah, he's too old. 27, Matt. Oh, he's past it. To be honest with you, it's baffled me for years. I mean, like, if I was Newcastle, with all their riches, I'd just drive a truck of money to Southampton and go, how much do we unload?
Yeah, because but even like Man City...
He would improve every team. He'd improve every team. It's
it's really strange. But do you know what? On a lighter note, when me and Seb went to the Brighton game, he predicted 3-1. All game. Like before the game, he was like, "Dad, it's going to be 3-1. It's going to be 3-1," and then it was 3-1, and he kind of come out.
I bet he was really smug.
Yeah, he was like,
good.
But so this is how smug he was. Right? He really makes me laugh, Seb, because he's such a quiet little boy. But when he had his moments that really kind of like throw me a little bit, you know. And we always walk from Seven Sisters up to the ground, which is about 25 minute walk. And as we're walking up, he's gone, "Do you know what, Dad? Because I predicted the Brighton game. I'm going to predict the game today. I'm going to predict the result. I'm going to tell you what the score is." And he says it's going to be 5-2. It's 5-2 to Spurs. And then every couple of minutes we'd be walking along and he'd go, we'd have to stop, and he'd put his fingers to his temples and he'd go, one of the goals is coming through to me now. It's coming through. I'm going to describe the goal. So he was doing that the whole way, and he was really making me laugh. And then I said, look, before we get to the ground, if we find a bookies, I'll put a bet on for you, mate. And I dived into my pocket, and no one has changed nowadays, do they?
No,
you can't take money to the Spurs ground because it's card only in there, so I don't even bother taking any money. But I found £1.50 in my pocket, so I said, right, if you're that confident, mate, at 5-2, you wait outside and I'll quickly run in and I'll go and put a bet on for you. So I've gone in 100 to 1. It was 5-2 for Spurs. Yeah, 100 to 1. So he said, how much do I win then, Dad? I said, 150 quid, mate. If it comes through, you win 150 quid. And the whole game, he was like going, do you know what? What I'll probably do is I'll probably spend about 50 quid of it on Xbox. So he was spending that. He was
spending his money.
And then when it got to 2-2, he was like, it's going to happen, Dad. It's going to happen. I said, we've only got 10 minutes, you watch. And then they scored a third, and I was like, do you want me to tear out the betting slip, or do you want to tear it up?
No. disheartening is not the word. I mean, yeah, oh, good. Let's end our discussion of that game on that note, I think, which is an amusing note, because, yeah, other than that, it wasn't steaming garbage.
It was.
Right, a few people have asked me to do this. It's not really a loan update, so I'm not going to play the theme or anything. It's kind of a summary after the window closed of where everybody is. So Troy Parrott has remained at MK Dons. He's there on a season on loan. He's not really scoring as much as I'd like to see him scoring, which I know sounds like a really stupid thing to say. He's a striker. I want to see him banging them in. But the reviews of him down there are really good. Like work-wise, link-up play, everything. He's doing everything. I mean, he is getting the odd goal, but he is like winning Man of the Match awards, not voted for by Tottenham fans online, by the way. So if anyone gets an opportunity just to sort of catch MK Dons at any point, do have a watch. He's apparently doing great. They really, really love him there, which is nice to see. Keon Ete is at Cheltenham now. Now, he was at Northampton up until January, but he's been moved up a division. He was in League 2. He's now in League 1 playing for Cheltenham. He's played 2 games, was voted their man of the match last night. Had a phenomenal game. So he's stepped up great. So I'm really pleased with that. Interesting, Jamie Bowden was on loan at Oldham. He came back, and everyone, I kind of thought he was going to go back out. I don't think he has. I'm gonna double check that, but to my reckoning, he's back with the under-23s and he's not gone anywhere. I do think there is still a limited loan window now, though, so maybe he still will.
Yeah, sure.
But I'll double check that. Alfie Whiteman, again, he was on loan in Sweden for a while. His contract was due to expire June 2022. Now, I am told, about as reliable as anyone is, he has signed an extension for a year and is about to go to the MLS on loan. So keep an eye out for that, see if anything comes out about that in the next few days. Papa Mate Sarr, he's still on loan at Metz, a player we own but never seen. We obviously signed him in the summer and left him there on a season on loan. He has just won the African Cup of Nations with his country, Senegal. Didn't get many minutes in a tournament, to be honest. He's still a young lad. I think he's like 18, 19, but he did get some. I think he'd have got more, but he got COVID right at the very start of the tournament, the poor sod. So he was like due to start the first game and he had an outbreak. But yeah, I did get to catch a little bit of him when I saw. Looks a tidy flair, but then the AFCON is a weird competition.
Yeah. Very
hard to gauge what's going on there, to be honest. Cameron Carter-Vickers, as everyone knows, the USA international, was up at Celtic and is loving life up there. He is being raved over. Celtic want to sign him. In the summer, he'll have a year left on his current deal, so there'll be a fee involved, but all intents and purposes, it looks like Celtic want him. He wants to be up there. A deal to get done.
Yeah.
So
suits all parties, doesn't it, I think?
It does, yeah. I mean, I'm kind of fed up of reading his name out on the loan updates, to be honest. I've been reading his name out for the last 2-3 years at various clubs. Really lovely lad, though. Really, really nice guy, and I wish him all the best. Absolutely all the best. J. Neil Bennett is back at the under-23s. He was on loan at Crewe, but ended due to an ankle ligament injury. I don't think he recovered fully in time to be looking at another loan. He did get some minutes for the under-23s the other day, though, so he is recovering, which is good. Niall John has got his first ever senior loan. He's gone out to Charlton in League 1. He's made his debut off the bench, only a few minutes so far, but keep an eye out for that one. Jack Clark has gone on loan to League 1 as well with Sunderland. Gotta be honest with you, the Jack Clark signing is becoming a bit of a farce, and is well worthy of discussion at this point, because it has now become evident from a lot of people Jack Clark was signed by Daniel Levy. He wasn't scouted. It was a deal done because Levy was offered him after a recommendation from a certain Mr. Pleat, who has recommended some phenomenal players to Spurs over the years. But we signed this guy for 10 million without Pochettino being interested. He was the manager at the time, and without our scout at the time, Steve Hitchin, even looking at him.
Jesus.
that sums up to me one of the massive issues at this club. And Conte in his press conference the other day talked about the amount of mistakes made in the transfer market. I mean, 10 million on this lad, and he's now on a League One loan, having been on 3 loans in the Championship. It's awful.
Where do you so you talk about, like, so obviously the way it was done was silly, you know, obviously with the manager not being involved and Steve Hitchen not being involved as well. But you say that he was recommended by Pleat, who was recommended some really good players. So where do you think it's gone wrong? Where do you think Pleat got it wrong? Where do you think?
I think Pleat watched him, assessed him, and there is definite talent there. Don't get me wrong. Jack Clarke is a definitely talented player. What he does uniquely for English wingers is he likes to beat people. You don't see that with English players really anymore. Do you know what I mean by that? It's like when me and you were younger, wingers, that was what they did. You know, they got the ball, they tried to get to the byline.
Chris Waddle.
Yeah, mate. You got it in your head straight away. You can visualise exactly what I mean by that. But the way teams play in the Premier League now, can you think of a team that plays with what we would class as a traditional winger?
No, you're right. Yeah.
When was the last time Tottenham played with a traditional winger?
No, you're right.
And yet we signed him. Now, you could say he's young enough when we signed him, especially, that he could adapt, he could play different ways, and with all the talent he's got, definitely. But the reason why Leeds were happy to let him go is because there were a lot of problems behind the scenes with him, his mates in the local area going out getting drunk and missing training. Pleat knew all about that, Tottenham knew all about that, and Pochettino, obviously a great relationship with Bielsa. And so the conversations that all happened around that signing was, he's having a bad influence on him here. Get him out of here. This kid's got all the talent in the world. And that was the conversation. And 10 million for a kid who potentially could be worth 30, 40, 50 million in a few years to Daniel Levy was perfect. Yeah. But again, this is the business brain of Daniel Levy thinking, I spend 10 million, and in a few years' time, he's worth that or more because of how young he is and how talented he is. Great investment. But you're not thinking about the football aspect of it. Yeah. You're not thinking about, well, that 10 million there could have actually gone towards the other signings in that summer, where we signed Giovanni Lo Celso. That extra 10 million could have gone towards signing Bruno Fernandes. Did you see what I mean?
Yeah, of course.
It's a bizarre, bonkers thing. And when you've got a setup at a club where the manager says no, the chief scout says no, but the chairman goes, well, I bought him anyway. That's a problem. That's the issue, isn't it? That's a massive issue.
See, I'm worried. I'm worried now that David Pleat is suffering from some kind of mental breakdown, because maybe he was thinking I'm signing someone and he's thinking it's 1987.
But the thing is about Pleat, and this is the thing, is like Pleat's recommended players to Tottenham a lot. Pleat recommended Dele Alli. Mitchell went and saw him and signed him. He recommended the lad at Leicester, Morrison.
Yeah.
And we could have signed him for between 3 and 5 million, very similar to the money we paid for Dele. And the deal was all there to be done. We scouted him, liked him a lot. And Pochettino looked at him and went, at the moment, he's not an upgrade on what we've got in the first team, but he's too good to sit in our under-23s. So if we're going to do a deal, what we should do is very similar to what we did with Dele, is we sign him and loan him back, but we do it like 18-month loan almost, like just stay with your club and play every week, and then in a year's time or whatever, see what level you're at. But again, this is where the sort of disconnect happens, is the club didn't want to do that. They did it with Dele for 6 months, saw him arrive and just burst onto the scene. Dele's value went from 5 million to 50 million. Let's do that again. But and you know, and to be respectful on this one, the decision made then was actually, no, Pochettino doesn't want him, so we're not going to sign him.
Yeah.
So you can see that, like, David Pleat, all David Pleat does is looks at players and will recommend them. It's then up to the club what level of due diligence they do. You know, it's like Morrison, they really looked at, and then someone else came in and they went, okay, what's our decision here? No, he's not going to push the first team, so let him go to somebody else. And I think he went to Coventry at that point and then to Leicester.
Sure.
I can't remember which way round it was, so it might be, I can't remember. But anyway, he sort of went to a club then to Leicester. So it's odd, you know, there's a scenario, but again, you go on to, and in the same window, And we signed Tanguy Ndombele and Giovanni Lo Celso, who of course are both currently on loan from the club as well. Tanguy has rejoined Lyon in Ligue 1 in France. They do have a buy clause which they can trigger in the summer. I watched him make his second debut for him the other day. I don't know, have you seen this at all?
I bet he was mustard, wasn't he? Or am I...
Yeah, it was absolutely friggin' unbelievable.
Yeah.
Smile on his face. I want to slap him.
Oh, yeah. Can I be second?
Yeah. No, that sounds awful. That's not the right thing
No,
to
but
say.
do you know what?
I saw him smiling, looking at... Mate, perhaps, and I know for us as Tottenham fans, perhaps he just really hated it in London. Do you know what I mean? It's like...
yeah.
I can... If anyone here has ever done a job at a place they hated, you go back to your old gaff, it's like, thank goodness.
Yes, Sam, I can really relate, mate. And do you know what? Just taking it away from football for a second and just thinking of me myself, I kind of maybe it's my age, mate, because I'm in my 40s now. And anyone listening who's in their 40s, maybe if they can appreciate what I'm going to say, but I feel like I'm kind of at an age now where I'm assessing everything, and all I want to do is be happy and live a fairly simple life, but not a simple life as in, live in a farm and just like not have any, just not have anyone, but just a simple life. Just, I think I've come to the
drama,
stress. I think I've come to the conclusion that happiness comes from just living a fairly just simple and being happy in what you do. And there's nothing wrong with wanting to push your boundaries, step out your comfort zone, and grow. And that's really good, and that's something that I'm hoping I can do at some point. But me personally, I just think that, and I know Ndombele's only a young fella, but sometimes going to where you're happy, going to where you're comfortable is maybe just the best thing to do. I mean, look, he's like, the All or Nothing documentary.
Yeah,
it was quite clear then that he didn't fancy it, and like I think you alluded to it last week. Levy just persuaded him to stay, and look, we know, like, obviously we're talking about Jack Clark, that all Levy's thinking is, if you go now, mate, I'm not going to get the money back that I spent on you. I might be wrong, but my prediction would be that Levy couldn't give a toss about his happiness or his mental health. No. It's like, I've made a huge amount of freaking money on this guy. I spent a lot of money on this guy. I don't want to lose that. That's all he's thinking about. And as much as we were all angry with Ndombele, and I, like I said to you when I was at the game, at the Morecambe game, I was booing him and I was calling him the C word in front of my boy, which I was really embarrassed about because it was so frustrating, so passionate about it. Yeah. But the guy, I didn't see the game, and you have, but clearly by the fact that he looks happy, he's back to his normal self, that's where he's happy. And part of me, a big part of me now is just thinking, good luck to him. Do you know what I mean? Like, it didn't work. He tried it. It didn't work. He's in the I think he was good friends with the rest of the French mafia. They've moved on, so he's lost his two best mates at the club. He's just probably far too far out of his comfort zone, and he's like, I just want to go back in it. And if he's got the smile back on his face, he's happy again. Part of me is just like, good luck to him, man. It just didn't work. We talked about. I know I don't want to spend any more time talking about the game last night, but I will say, with the positive, with Benny when he come on, this guy. I know it's 2 cameos. I appreciate those 2 games, but the guy looks comfortable and he looks settled already. Dare I say, he looks settled already. Some people just can do that. I mean, the guy's Uruguayan. He's been playing in Italy. He's now in England. Like, for most of us, that's crazy. I mean, for me, even thinking about moving to another town, like, say Vicky was like, I've got a really good job up in Manchester, I'd be excited, but I'd be like, shit, man, like, I don't really know where I am. This guy's gone from South America to Italy to England, and he looks like he's just lived in England for his whole life. Some people just adapt easier, but some people are just like, I just want to be where I'm happy, where I'm comfortable, and clearly that's him. That's where he's happy,
Yeah, no, I agree with you.
There's a long-winded way of saying that, mate. Sorry, but
no, it's fine. But they have a buy clause, and a lot of people have kind of looked at this and kind of gone, oh well, Leon ain't got that sort of money. This is he's just going to come back to us in the summer. Look, there is a very real possibility this ain't going to work and he is going to come back to us in the summer and we've got this problem again of finding him a new home. The way he started for Lyon, hopefully he will continue to play very well there, because if that scenario does happen, then I think we won't be short of suitors, if that makes sense.
Of course, yeah.
But what I will say is, we didn't, I said this last week, I think, with transfers, you don't just go, right, sign this guy for 60 million, here's 60 million, thank you very much. It's done over tranches and installments and over years. So basically at the moment, the club, we still owe them probably about 40 odd million quid. So any re-signing will just be us going, right, well, we'll stop that, and that's 40 million of the deal done. And then you give us the difference, which I think would be about 11 million euros, which Lyon can do. That's not anything in football, even in France. So financially, the deal was there to be done if they want to re-sign him. The way he started, I think they'll be happy. And also, Tanguy's agent did an interview in France saying he was more than happy to reduce his wages back to Lyon level. So,
and that's another thing, isn't it? That he probably won't mind that if he's in a much better place.
Of happiness,
if he's in a much better place, then money's not everything, is it, mate?
No, it's not. It bloody helps sometimes.
It helps.
Yeah. People say money can't buy happiness. Well, it can buy jet skis, and that's pretty freaking close.
do you know what? I heard somewhere that there's that scale. You probably heard it. I know you're a man of the world who's all these wise words. But from what I've heard somewhere, they say that it's a scale, isn't it? And you hit 70 grand, it goes really steeply up the happiness level with money, and then when it hits 70 grand, it really plateaus. And so the difference between someone earning 70 grand and Jeff Bezos isn't that much. So really, for football players, they're way in that echelon of that level, aren't they?
Yeah. To be honest with you, I mean, if I hit that level as a football player and you're earning the sort of money they do, I mean, 40, 50 grand a week or whatever. Yeah. Some club offers you 100 grand, brilliant, but you're happier at a place where you're only earning 50 or 60 grand. I would always go, look, Mr. Agent, I know what you're getting at, and I know your commission rates, but I'm happy. I don't need to earn that extra money.
No.
It never seems to work that way. I think because people are hardwired to kind of like, footballers have it drilled into them, your career is short. When this is done, that's it. Your career is short. So they're like, yeah, you're right. I need 400 million in the bank rather than the 300 I've got. It's like, no, you're fine. You're going to be okay. Unless you literally George Best it up against the wall, you're going to be... Oh, you're doing that? Oh, okay, right. Giovanni Lo Celso's at Villarreal. Now, everywhere, when that deal was being done, said there was a buy clause. Everywhere. And when it was announced, I can't find anything anywhere about it. And the thing is, with Spanish clubs, they announce deals with detail. They literally will put everything out there. Like, oh, we've signed him for this loan fee. If he plays this many games, it triggers this. If it does this, they will put the full thing out. Comunicado Oficial. There was nothing. So I got a feeling he's back in the summer.
Okay.
Lo Celso, like Ndombele for me, just a massive, massive disappointment. I think I've talked about it, but the two of them were at Tottenham for 2.5 years and managed starts in the Premier League between them under 13. I think it's 11 or 12. I can never remember. But that's insane when you consider that's £100 million worth of players that were signed, and that's all they've managed. I mean, Celso has become like a bad joke. The guy gets injured on international duty, uses the club as a gym, gets fit to go back again.
Yeah.
He played more for Argentina in the last 6 months than he did for Tottenham. How does that work? Just literally minutes on the pitch, he played more. That wasn't an exaggeration. That's a literal stat. He did more minutes on the pitch for Argentina than he did for Tottenham. Just bizarre. The fact that Argentina kept picking him is bloody bizarre. But
it's like, when you think of, like, you said about how Kulu come on yesterday and he looked like a rabbit caught in headlights. Yeah, but the guy's literally been at the club for a week and a half, 2 weeks.
Yeah, exactly.
Lo Celso, don't get me wrong, I don't think he looks like a rabbit caught in headlights, but at the same time, he just looks like he's not. He hasn't there, is he? He's not.
No. Never worked.
No, it's just never worked.
I don't think we've ever found a position for him. When we signed him, it was like, an Ericsson replacement. And then I remember reading this article. It's like, if Tottenham think they've signed a playmaker, it's not. Maybe a deep lying one, but, he's not that. So I was like, all right, well, what is he then? And I'm not sure, jack of all trades, master of none scenario kind of fits him, because deep lying playmaker, he doesn't work. But I remember there was a couple of games where he'd play that deeper role and he'd bring the ball forward, he'd burst forward with the ball, and I think, oh wow, okay, here he is. This is what this guy can do. And he was able to thread balls through brilliantly. Just never happened. Just injury after injury, and again, you can look at it and just go, it's just not going to work. So hopefully he gets plenty of games for Villarreal. He's already started and played a full 90 minutes for him, by the way.
Right.
Yeah, bonkers. But anyway, hopefully he'll get plenty of minutes and something will happen. So in the summer we're not faced with that again. And of course the last one, which is just a straight loan, Bryan Gill went to Valencia. It is literally just a loan, like a €1 million fee, and they're covering his wages. And he's started a couple of games and is playing brilliant. He's really good for him. But again, I'm going to come back to this. I'll go back to the Jack Clark thing. Bryan Gill is what I would class as a traditional winger.
Yeah.
We don't play him. And yet we signed him.
But to be fair, we did sign him before Conte came, didn't we?
We did. Yeah. We did. And we did sign him with Nuno in mind, who was trying to create a system with wider players. So you're not wrong. You're not wrong. He was signed with a different player. And I think he was signed with a kind of part of a deal with Lamela going the other way, with an overall feeling of, we want to bring in talented players and lower the age of the squad, and do these things. But again, the fact that he's gone out on loan, I had a lot of criticism over that. My view was, sending him to Spain protects his value. It doesn't help the player. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, it doesn't let him set him into the Premier League, does it?
No, how does that help him get better in English football? Learning the language, all these different things. Conte in his press conference basically got asked that question, and his answer was great. It was just along the lines of, the kid's still very young, and he needs to play games. And he's like, in England, all very different weather and everything like that is going on. Right now, he isn't physically able to do it. He was like, and he used him as an example, not only of the kid's got all the work ethic, all the thing in the world, so this loan is not about selling him next season, it's about helping him get that confidence, get the games, and then we're going to work with him in the summer to help him physically get better for English football. It was also about the club making mistakes, because he used it as an example of, look, this kid, he's got all the talent in European football, and in Spain, he's a starter for pretty much every team in La Liga. Germany, Italy, he's a starter. England's a very different league, and he's like, unless you've been here, you don't understand it. He said, I've managed here before, so I know the type of players you have to sign, and the profile of the players is different for England than anywhere else. And he's like, the physicality and the kind of physical conditioning is different. And he's absolutely right. He's absolutely spot on. You look at Bryan Gill, and he is, all intents and purposes, the kid needs to bulk up a bit.
Yeah, he's very gangly, isn't he? He looks like he reminds me of Scooby-Doo, the
Shaggy.
Shaggy, there you go.
Yeah, like Darren Anderson used to be. Darren Anderson probably couldn't play in the Premier League anymore. Just a lanky streak he was. A breakable lanky streak. But yeah, so that's it. That's the roundup, everyone. That's really bugging me, the Jamie Bowden thing. I'm going to have to try and find out. It's like nagging in my head that he has gone somewhere, and I said he hasn't. So if he has, there's people to this podcast going, oh, says he's an expert. Speaking of says he's an expert, by the way, I put a typo, right, on a Facebook post, okay? And I never put the typo. Autocorrect on your phone?
Yeah.
Anytime I've written the word Dele Alli for the last 3 years, my autocorrect has changed it to Adele.
Okay.
I have no idea why my phone thinks I'm such a friggin' Adele fan. But it does. It just changes it every single time. And so I have had to purposely, when I've done it, go in and write Dele, wait for my phone to go, do you mean Adele? And go, no, I bloody don't. and then, put the post out. So anyway, on this occasion of Dele leaving the club, and I've done this post, I've written it and I've just looked away because I'm like, oh, that's funny. It didn't come up with a Del. Isn't that odd? So I've moved on. I've posted it. I think it's like that 11 midnight on transfer deadline day that's gone through, midnight. I'm knackered. I've gone to sleep. I've woke up in the morning. Of course, my phone has gone, oh, you're trying to write the word deli. You silly Billy. That's not how you spell deli. It's D-E-L-I. Deli. Sandwiches. Deli. So I've looked at it and I've gone, oh, fuck. I've looked at it. And I've got like 5 messages from people I know. Stefan, my brother, a couple of other fellow Spurs fans who follow the page, just going, was that a dig? Well, Stefan didn't. Stefan just sent me a post of all the comments underneath it going, think you want to correct that typo. Someone actually wrote, you call yourself a Spurs page.
Oh, for God's sake.
And I read it, and I was raging. I was so angry. Because I saw the typo. I thought, oh no, bloody phone! I've corrected it. I've replied to a couple of people who've gone, you spelled deli wrong. And I'm like, yeah, obviously it's a typo. Come on, obviously it's a typo. Yeah. And then I've got to this one. You call yourself. And I was like, you call yourself. I was raging, man. I was like stomping.
That was a great Joe Pesci impression, angry. By the way, Sam.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, yeah, Home Alone. Yeah. So, mate, I was raging. And so I've written this reply, and this reply is evil. And I'm like, no, come on, grow up. Delete that. And I've literally just put something back like, clearly it was a typo.
Yeah.
my iPhone has corrected it. It's now updated. And that's all I did. I just thought, no, do that, left it. And the guy replied going, yeah, sorry, passions were running a bit high. I was sad to see him leave. And I was like, okay, just walk away now, because the guy has said that. You've corrected him. You've not got annoyed. And he's, in a way, kind of apologised for making the comment. So I learned a little bit of a lesson then, not to just go fully raging, just like, clearly it was a freaking typo.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Anyone who thinks that this guy leaving, I thought, as a final dig, you're leaving us, I'm going to call you a sandwich. Anyone who thought that, oh Jesus. But,
I just think
some stuff, do you know, like his timing in it, like something, I was gutted Deli left. It was right, 100%
right. Yeah.
Head 100%. Heart, no, it aches. It aches at that. He's left. But then, I woke up the next day, and that was the first comment I've seen. Oh man, some things like the simplest thing could just send you way over the edge.
Yeah,
I was gone. I was so far gone. I mean, now I'm laughing. At the time, not laughing.
Yeah, no, exactly. Do you know, it's one of those things, isn't it? Social media. I know we talk about it all the time, but I'm hoping that it's funny enough. Someone put on. It was a tweet. I know you're on Twitter all the time, and I can't remember the words, but the context hopefully I can portray. And it was like, was it maybe 2010, 11? I don't know when Twitter first come out, but it was like you put a comment and someone puts a really nice comment back, and it's like this really nice conversation. It's like you put a comment now. Discourse. Yeah, now anything you say, you're just getting someone from the opposite end of the spectrum attacking you, attack, and I'm hoping that. We over time it repairs itself, it heals itself, but we're still through it at the moment where anything you put just gets if someone disagrees with you, they proper disagree. And like you say, you could clearly see it was a typo, and like you say, the guy when you responded, he kind of
he did,
but at the same time, it's what it is, it's just. And everyone says it, and I know I'm saying something that everyone says, but it'd never be in a pub. Like if you was down a pub with your mates and someone said, no one would attack you all. But it's so easy, isn't it? Behind the computer screen or behind your phone, just to have a dig all the time. And I guess if you're not in the right frame of mind, you attack back, and then you're having this stupid argument with someone that you never met, and you're never gonna.
Me and this guy could have gone 10 rounds if I posted what I was going to post about his stupid haircut. It was so. I'm like looking up this guy's Facebook profile. Going, right, let's find all the things wrong about you.
God, it gets so silly.
You made a post in 2009 where clearly you meant to say sky, and you've written this. So who's true. Perfect now, jackass?
It's so true.
I was gone.
You do that, don't you? You're like, right, okay, you're picking me up on this. I'm going to find something. And I've done it before, and I'm going through all their time. And I'm like, I'm going to find something. I'm going to find something. Yeah, and you think, I've just spent 20 minutes getting angry at someone I've never met.
I was like, why am I doing this? Why? And so when I finally wrote like this calmish response, like with gritted teeth, like be professional, and it's just like it's gone, and I'm like, oh, I'll tell you what, I've managed to trigger Arsenal fans on our TikTok. So Spurs News has a TikTok account. Any grown-up player who has a TikTok account like me and Matt, because we got dragged into it with our kids, are still stuck there because it's hilarious. Find us on there, just search Spurs News and you'll find it. Basically, it's designed for like funny things and a bit of nostalgia. So it's all short clip videos. And the other day it was the anniversary of Harry Kane scoring the 2 goals against Arsenal. The day that the Arsenal fan TV guy said, "Whose name is Harry Kane?" And then he scored twice. And then someone's got a shot of him in the stand looking like positively, suicidal after the game. Now, It was great, and it's just such a fun moment for us as fans, because it was kind of like that was the Kane moment, wasn't it? It's like he was good, he was doing well. That moment, he went boom. That was it. It was the meteor launch pad. Yeah. So for us as Spurs fans, that was a great moment, a win over our North London rivals. So I'm gonna give you 3 guesses. You're not gonna need all of them. What do you think the Arsenal fan response was when somehow this video of a Spurs News thing, all Tottenham hashtags, everything, ended up in Arsenal's TikTok realm? What do you think was the Arsenal fan response to seeing this video?
Go on, mate. Go on, tell us.
Great trophy for that, was it? You didn't win a trophy though, did you? Who won a trophy? Did you win a trophy? We then had, have you bought the DVD of that then? God. I'm like, mate, if they made a DVD of that game, yeah, I probably would buy it. You jackass. It's like, that was a great day for me. Well, what are you on about? Yeah, we didn't win a trophy though, did you? Mate, I don't care. We won that game too. I'm talking about this game. It's like saying, hey, look, I've got a nice apple. And I'm going, yeah, but you ain't got no oranges, have you? Yeah, but I got this apple and I'm really happy about it. Yeah, but where's your banana?
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't care. I've got this apple and I'm really happy about it.
Yeah, do you know what I mean?
I like apples.
I don't
this
care.
Is a good apple.
Yeah, I don't care about the apple trophy.
Man, they couldn't get it. Like I know because on that thing on Facebook, I lost it. On this, I am giggling to myself because I'm replying to them going, I don't care.
Yeah.
And they're just like, well, small club mentality.
Oh,
like, I don't care. Yeah, put it in your trophy cabinet. I can't, mate. It's full. Yeah. Oh, yeah, but what have you won then? And I rattled off everything. I said, no, any European trophies in your cabinet?
Yeah.
Boom! Oh, my God. You then had to rattle off their FA Cup successes. So I said, when we won the FA Cup in 91, we held the record for the most wins at 8. So, basically, when we win some more, we'll overtake your record. Yeah, but you won't, will you? I said, well, we might. Yeah, but you won't. Yeah, but we might. Oh my God, he was driving him insane. He just, but you haven't won nothing since 91. Well, actually, we won a couple of League Cups. Yeah, they're not real trophies. No, they are. Seriously, they're like made of metal and everything. I was just having so much fun. I was just being such a jerk. But yeah, I don't know how that happened. I just ended up on Arsenal TikTok with that video, and I really triggered them. And it was like not deliberate. It was supposed to be like a nice nostalgia thing for Tottenham fans to go, oh wow. Also, by the way, 7 freaking years ago, I was like, what?
Wow.
7 years that happened.
That's mental, isn't it?
How was that? How old was Seb 7 years ago?
2.
How old was Layla, man?
Layla wasn't born.
Yeah, Layla was the result of that double goal.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, so something like that. Move on quickly. Yeah, mate. Anyway, we will wrap the podcast up here. I want to say a massive thank you to everyone for continuing to listen. Hopefully, we've laughed a little bit and cheered everyone up towards the end. Tottenham play Wolves on Sunday. It's a chance to get back on track. I dare say they're having some pretty serious conversations today with Mr. Conte. I don't see us defending that badly ever again. I don't know about you, but something tells me he might be having a few words.
I'm working, but my brother's taking Seb, so hopefully they'll get a good game.
Yeah, I hope so. I like the fact Seb's still going. He's a proper dedicated fan. Proper dedicated. And tell him he needs to give us a prediction before as well.
Mystic Seb, for anyone old enough.
Mystic Seb, yes. Right, that's it. New segment on the podcast. Right, I'm not joking.
Funny you say
Every
that.
week I want Mystic Seb to predict the score, and I want a recording of it, and we're going to put it on the show.
That's so funny you say that, Sam, because he said exactly the same thing. He's like, can I have my little bit on the podcast if I do predict? I was like, I'm sure Sam would be happy with that.
Yeah, mate, Mystic Seb. That's it. I will find some mysticky music as a musical bed and everything. That's it.
Quality.
Mystic Seb.
He'll love that. He'll love that
from next week.
That'll make his day, Sam. That'll make his day.
Good. There you go. We need cheering up after last night. I'm all for that. But yeah, as always, massive thank you to everyone. Matt, massive thank you to you. Everyone, take care.
Cheers, mate. Take care.
Thank you for listening to the Spurs News Podcast. We hope that you enjoyed the show. Stay up to date with all things Tottenham. Follow us on social media. All links are in the podcast description.